Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Jam?
And I'm surprised at you. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean? What I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I went on a Bomber of the Month tour.
Bomber of the Month? I would have been a bomb compared to you.
Well, you've been on the tour.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. And that's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cat Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, the life and career of Sergey Krusher Kovalev. Sergey Krusher Kovalev. How's the family today? It's Friday, time for the profile of the week. Today, Sergey Krusher Kovalev, Russian boxer, had a great career. We're going to talk about Krusher today. And tonight starts this great weekend of boxing action with the big women's card. Toronto Taylor 3, okay? Then we got the Berlanga Shiraz tomorrow. The Kurt Stevenson, Williams and Pater, joint main events. Big weekend for boxing fans. Huge weekend for boxing fans. Okay, I'm looking forward to tonight, that all women's card. Can't wait. Okay, only a few hours away. Has it started yet? Okay, but first, today, for the highlights of boxing history, we are going through all 17 weight divisions and looking at the current top 10 active fighters. We are down to middleweight, 160. So today we're going to look at the top 10 active middleweights, fighters in the 160-pound division today. Okay? So without further ado, let's get to the highlights of boxing history. Top 10 current active middleweights. All right. How's everyone this Friday afternoon? Back at another weekend. You ready to talk some boxing history? Got two huge cards. And sure, some other boxing going on too, you know? So, hey, we'll see what's happening. But let's talk about these top 10 middleweights, okay, of all time. That's I just looked up his name on the how to pronounce it. I forgot how you pronounce it already. It's not Janibet, but you know who I'm talking about. That's him right there. He's number one at 160. Janibek Alim Hanuli, something like that. He's the top number one middleweight right now, as far as Cash Sports is concerned. He's currently the WBO and IBF middleweight champion, with a record of 16 wins, no losses, 11 by the knockout route. Janibek Alim Hanuli. Okay? Just gonna touch on him briefly. Then we're gonna get to the Krusher today. Sergey Krusher Kovalev is the profile this week. Number two at middleweight, 160. Carlos Adames. Okay. Mike Mazik in the building. What's up, Mike? Appreciate you stopping by today. Yeah, we had a change in plans. It was supposed to be a joint profile on Arturo Gatti and Mickey Wood, and then we was going to talk about the trilogy, but both of their profiles were too long to fit into one show, so we'll do them separately later. But today it's going to be Sergey Krusher Kovalev. Well, salute, Mike Mazik. Appreciate you. Okay. Number two, Carlos Adames. It's Carlos on the right. Currently the WBC middleweight champion, holding a record of 24 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 18 knockouts for Carlos. Talking about the top 10 currently active 160-pounders, middleweight. Number three, Erslandy Lara. Erslandy on the right. Erslandy is the current WBA middleweight champion. Record of 31 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws, 19 knockouts. The veteran, Erslandy Lara. Okay, number four, Chris Eubank Jr. A prominent UK fighter. Currently holds a record of 35 wins, 3 losses, 25 knockouts. Chris Eubanks Jr. coming in at number 4 at middleweight. Number 5, Miriam Nursultanov. Miriam Nursultanov. An undefeated Kazakhstani fighter with a record of 20 wins and no losses, 11 by the knockout route. Nursultanov, number 5. Number 6, Hamza Shiraz, in action tomorrow. Hamza Shiraz. Another undefeated fighter with a record of 20 wins, no losses, and 16 knockouts for 80% knockout ratio. And like I said, he's in action tomorrow against Edgar Berlanga, headlining the card. Yep, Shiraz going into action tomorrow night. Yep. Number 7, looking at the top 10 middleweights, 160 pounders. Etinosa Oliha. Okay. That's Hamza. Right. Cass Sports. Number 1 light heavyweight, Cass Sports. Well, heavyweight now. Used to be light heavyweight. Etinosa Oliha. Number 7 at 160. An undefeated Italian fighter and former IBO champion. His current record is 21-0 with 9 knockouts. Oliha, Italian fighter. You don't exactly equate boxing with Italy, but Oliha is a good one. Number 8, Kyron Davis. Kyron Davis on the right there. An 11-year pro from the United States with a record of 19 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 6 knockouts. Kyron Davis, number 8 at 160 currently. Number 9, Tyler Denny. That's Tyler on the right. Tyler Denny. A former European middleweight champion from the UK. Denny currently has 24 fights as a pro, 18 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws, and just 1 knockout. I guess it's safe to say he's not a power guy. 24 fights, just 1 knockout. And rounding out the top 10 at 160 is Felix Cash. Felix Cash. Felix is another UK pugilist who has held the Commonwealth middleweight title since 2019 and the British middleweight title since 2021. Yeah, currently the Commonwealth and British middleweight champion. Okay, let me get his record for you right quick. I got everybody else's. Wouldn't be fair. Should not tell you Felix's. Then we're going to get on to Krusher, Kovalev. Great fighter from Russia. Krusher Kovalev. Let's get Felix's record because I don't know why I don't have it on here. Okay, yeah. Felix is currently 16 wins, 1 loss, with 10 knockouts. Felix Cash, okay? Now today we're going to talk, it's profile day, we're going to talk about Sergey Krusher Kovalev, okay? The subject of today's profile. Big weekend of boxing though. We got the big women's card tonight, and then co-main events tomorrow. Edgar Berlanga, Hamza Shiraz, Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda. Okay, but I think the card of the weekend is tonight, the women. Looking forward to that one. Got some big names on there. Of course, Serrano Taylor 3. We got Alicia Baumgarten. I think she's in the co-main. That's what she's fighting. We got this is a big one too here. Savannah Marshall and Shadeja Green. I'm leaning towards Savannah in that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Shadeja pulls it off. But Savannah's skill and experience, I think she will probably pull it out. And a few other big name women on the card. Chantel Cameron on there. Yeah. A huge card. And it's tonight. Yeah. What is it? Is that the Zone? I'm not sure. But I know it's tonight. And whatever it is that I'm going to be watching, I'm going to be in attendance right in front of my TV. It's just like being in attendance at the fight. watching TV, you got a better view than some people. And people up there in the cheap seats and the rafters, they should have stayed home and watched it on TV. But at least they can say they were there. I was in a fight one time, I think at the Baltimore Arena. I was so far up, my head was almost touching the ceiling of the place. Yeah, my seat was so bad. That's what you get for being cheap, though. I could reach up and touch the ceiling. That's where I was sitting at, right? That's what you call a bad seat. Anytime you can reach up and touch the ceiling. No, I made that up. I'm sorry. I made that up. No fool, no fun. You ain't gonna be in no arena where you can. Y'all probably say, "Yeah, Cass, yeah, right." You reach up and touch the ceiling. Yeah, I did make it up. Well, let's go with Sergey Krusher Kovalev. Okay, he's the profile for today. Russian fighter. Then, if we had time, we're gonna look at some of the greatest Russian fighters of all time. Before Baturbayev is from Russia. Krusher, yeah. Born out of Australia, but he was originally from Russia. Krusher, yeah. I tell you. Okay. The life and career of Sergey Kovalev. Now, he's a Russian former professional boxer, born April 2nd, 1983, right? Competed from 2009 to 2025. Okay. He held multiple light heavyweight world championships, including the WBA Undisputed and the IBF titles from 2014 to 2016. It wasn't four-belt Undisputed yet. Okay. And the WBO title 3 times between 2013 and 2019. Now, nicknamed the Krusher, Kovalev is particularly known for his exceptional punching power, although he describes himself as just a regular boxer. And Sergey, he fought at light heavyweight and cruiserweight, 6 foot even, tall, has a 72.5-inch reach, had 42 total fights in his professional career. He won 36, lost 5, 1 draw, 30 knockouts, 83.3% knockout ratio for the Krusher. Not bad. So he earned that nickname, the Krusher. Over 80% knockout ratio. Not bad. Okay. All right. I'm trying to get my laptop right. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. I'm messing up already with my fingers touching all these buttons. Okay, yeah, he called himself just a regular boxer. That's what he looked at himself as. In November of 2019, Kovalev was ranked as the world's second best light heavyweight by the Ring magazine, ranked third by BoxRec, and fourth by the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board. In 2014, the Ring magazine named him its Fighter of the Year. Okay? Fighter of the Year 2014. Okay, let's look at his early life. Krusher Kovalev's early life. Kovalev was initially interested in ice hockey. That's big over there in Russia, right? But He stopped playing ice hockey after his equipment was stolen from a dressing room. Now, because his parents could not afford to purchase replacement equipment, he tried other sports. Several months after he stopped playing ice hockey, he began to practice both boxing and amateur wrestling. Okay? Let's look at his amateur career in boxing. Look at his amateur career in boxing. Mike Grimm. What's up, Mike? Appreciate you stopping by today. We're talking about Sergey Krusher. Kovalev. What happened, Mike, was I know we was supposed to do the joint profile between Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, but they were both too long to fit into one day, so we're gonna have to do them separately one day. But to Sergey Kovalev, we did Sergey before. I checked. I think so. But Sergey Kovalev, look at his amateur career. Mr. Luke, Mike, Will, appreciate you. Okay. Now, Kovalev started boxing in 1994 at the age of 11 and made his amateur debut in the 1997 Russian Boxing Junior Championship, where he won a gold medal in the middleweight juniors division. Now, 1 year later, he competed with the seniors and reached the finals, right? And he won the final fight the next year, lost in the finals. That his first year, the next year he won he won the gold medal in the juniors. Then he went to the seniors the next year, lost in the final. And the year after that, he won the gold medal again. He competed in the European Championships for the Russian team in 2004, right? Competing in the senior championships for the first time, reaching the finals, and won the gold medal in the team event. In 2005, he reached the peak of his amateur career and won 2 championships, the first as a champion of Russia and the second as a champion among servicemen. Because in Russia, I know it used to be every male in the country had to join the military when you turned 18. I don't know if it's still like that, but I know it used to be like that during the Cold War. And it was right up there with the United States, 70s, 80s. Yeah, every male in Russia had to join the military. And Kovalev won a gold medal as a serviceman. He won the silver medal in the championship for servicemen in 2006. And in 2007, he finished third in both the Russian championships and World Military Games in India. In 2008, Kovalev participated in his final amateur competition and reached the finals, after which he decided to turn professional. Okay? He admitted he felt forced to leave the national team because of the intense competition between him and other boxers, such as Artur Beterbiev, who he lost to by 1 point in the amateurs, but never fought in the pros, because Kovalev turned professional much earlier than Artur, and Kovalev was almost, I guess, just about finishing his career, and Artur was starting to make his name for himself as a pro. But Kovalev finished his amateur career with a record of 195 wins, 18 losses, 213 amateur fights. Okay, so let's go to the Krusher's career as a professional now. Okay, we're gonna look at his early career first. Sergey Kovalev, drunk Irishman in the building. Appreciate you, drunk Irishman. Profile day, Sergey Krusher Kovalev. Bad man. I always thought he won that first fight with Andre Ward. But you can't be mad. It was a good competitive fight. You can't call it a robbery. But I've watched it a few times. I just could never give it to Andre. Now Andre won the second one, right? Of course. But the first one, I thought Sergey won that one. Yeah. That's one of them things. So not a robbery, because it was a good competitive fight. You couldn't be mad either way. Yeah. Okay, early career for the Crusher. Early career for the Crusher. Now, Kovalev started his career with a first-round knockout of Daniel Chavez at Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. Then in July of 2011, Kovalev won his first North American Boxing Association belt, NABA, in a 10-round fight with Douglas Ocheino from Kenya, right? We're going to cover that fight a little bit later, too. His next fight against Grover Young was controversial during the second round. Kovalev threw a left hook. This is the second round. Kovalev threw a left hook that the referee declared an illegal blow to the back of the head. Now, due to Young's inability to continue, the fight was declared a technical draw. Right? A lot of people thought the blow wasn't illegal. They should have gave it to Kovalev because Young couldn't continue. But since the referee called it an illegal blow, it had to be a technical draw. What they call it, an RTO, when the referee does that, or what. It didn't go 4 rounds either. But anyway, the referee called it an illegal blow, so it was a technical draw. And in his 2011 fight against Roman Simakov of Russia, another Russian, Kovalev his opponent knocked him down in the 6th round, and the fight was stopped, and Kovalev was awarded a TKO win. Now, Simakov was taken to the hospital, where he lapsed into a coma and died 3 days later as a result of the fight. That was early in Sergey's career when that happened. Wow. I didn't know that before yesterday. And I was reading over this. Yeah, I never knew a fighter died as a result of a fight with the Krusher, but early in his career. In 2012, John David Jackson became Kovalev's trainer. Kovalev met Darnell Boone in the ring for the second time and knocked him out in the 2nd round. The win led him to be signed on the main events, boxing. On January 19th, 2013, Kovalev faced the former World Boxing Association light heavyweight champion, Gabriel Campillo. Kovalev took advantage of Campillo's faltering defense and knocked him down with the left hook. One of 3 knockdowns in the round, right? Ended up stopping him. Okay, so WBO light heavyweight champion. That's when he gets his first title. Yes, against Daniel Klepperly. This is this fight right here. I got up there. I don't know what that's doing up there already. But yeah, WBO light heavyweight champion. Kovalev versus Klepperly. Okay. On August 17th, 2013, Kovalev fought with Nathan Klepperly. Did I say Daniel Klepperly? I meant Nathan. He fought Nathan Klepperly. This is in 2013. For the WBO light heavyweight title. Kovalev, who knocked most of his opponents out within 3 rounds, threw heavy shots in the 1st round and hurt Klepperly badly in the 3rd round, dropping him twice in that round. He knocked Klepperly down a 3rd time in the very next round, the 4th round, and then the referee intervened. It was the first time Klepperly had been knocked down as a pro, and Kovalev knocked him down 3 times and stopped him. Okay. Now let's look at some of his defenses. That was his first title, WBO, light heavyweight. I think he fought at cruiserweight, but I don't think he was a champion at cruiserweight. Toward the end, briefly. Okay. Title defense. On November 30th, 2013, he had his first title defense of his WBO light heavyweight title. It was against number 15th ranked Ismail Salak. In the 2nd round, Kovalev dropped Salak, and when Salak could not regain his footing, Kovalev floored him a 2nd time and ended the fight. Now, the fight averaged 1.25 million viewers on HBO. March 29th, 2014, Kovalev defended his title against undefeated Cedric Agnew. Cedric was 26-0 with 13 knockouts. This was at the Adrian Phillips Ballroom in Atlantic City. Now, although Agnew was not known to many boxing fans at the time, he had won against Yusuf Mack, Daniel Judah, and Otis Griffin. That Agnew's movement gave Kovalev problems at times, but after three rounds, Agnew was finished. After 3 knockdowns, Agnew was finished in the 7th round. The fight drew an average of 1.48 million viewers on HBO. The Kovalev was selling pretty well. Now, although the figures were down from the Kovalev Select fight, the fight was televised at the same time as Wisconsin versus Arizona, competing to reach the NCAA Final Four. Yeah, remember that. On at the same time. Still did over 1 million views, though. Not bad. I think I was watching the NCAA tournament. I was like, forget Kovalev and Agnew. That was a big game. Wisconsin and Arizona that year, 2014. Yeah. Al Booger in the building. What's up, Al Booger? How are you today, bro? The Krusher. Ward and Gaddy was both too long to put into one show, so we went to the Krusher. It's a good one, though. Sergey Krusher Kovalev. Great light heavyweight. For that cruiserweight also. I don't think he ever won the championship at cruiserweight, but he did fight there. Okay, now where was I at? Okay. On August 2nd, 2014. Y'all remember that Wisconsin and Arizona in the tournament 2014? Yeah. On August 2nd, 2014, Kovalev defended his WBO title against undefeated Australian contender Blake Caparello. And Blake was 19-0 with 16 knockouts. Oh, wait a minute, 6 knockouts. This was back in Atlantic City. Kovalev fought in Atlantic City a lot. He must have liked it up there. Right? And it was on HBO's Boxing After Dark. Now, Kovalev hoped for a unification fight against WBC champion Adonis Stevenson, but Stevenson stated he would only fight on Showtime, as Kovalev was contracted to HBO. He had to fight Caparello instead. Now, Caparello scored a flash knockdown after catching Kovalev with a solid shot while Kovalev was off balance. Kovalev, however, was unhurt and even appeared enraged and beat Caparello in a 2nd round technical knockout. The fight was watched by an average of 990,000 viewers. It peaked at 1.52 million. Kovalev's win allowed him to fight Bernard Hopkins in the fall of 2014, right? Main event spokesperson Kathy Duva believed there was a loss of focus due to building pressure, which was why Kovalev was dropped by Caparello. Now, Kovalev shrugged it off, any claims that he felt pressure, saying, "I didn't think about Bernard Hopkins tonight. They said he was focused on the Hopkins fight while he was fighting Caparello. That's why he got knocked down." Kovalev said that wasn't true. He said, "I was focused on this fight. It is very important, a big step for me. If I do not win this fight, there is no Bernard Hopkins fight. So why would he look past this guy?" And he did get knocked down. Lose that fight, he can forget B-Hop, right? Now, Lou DiBella, a promoter of Caparello, praised Kovalev, particularly the body shot that ended the fight. So then, negotiations for the Hopkins fight began, right? Now, unified light heavyweight champion, Kovalev versus B-Hop, versus Kovalev versus Bernard Hopkins, okay? He got past the Caparello fight, so they made the Kovalev fight. Yeah, that's what I just said, City by the Bay, before you came in. I was saying I thought Kovalev won that first fight against Andre, yes. Yeah, I thought he won it. Robbery. It was a good fight. I don't know, but I thought Kovalev won it. You know? Yeah. I was just saying that a little while ago. Well, salute City, by the way. Good to see you. You know? Cash Sports, the box historian, bringing you all that boxing history. 2 to 4, Monday through Friday. Like and subscribe, please. But yeah, I agree. I thought Kovalev won that first one. Yeah. Okay, so now he won the fight against Caparello, so then he earned the fight with Bernard Hopkins. Kovalev versus Hopkins. This was for the light heavyweight championship. But Kovalev had the WBO. This was for unification. On November 8th, 2014, Kovalev and Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins had like 63 fights at that time. 55 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws. They fought in a unification fight at the Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City. Now, the fight was televised on HBO World Championship Boxing. Kovalev defeated Hopkins by unanimous decision to retain the WBO light heavyweight title and win Hopkins' WBA and IBF titles in a one-sided fight. Okay? Kovalev knocked Hopkins down in the very first round and won every single round on all 3 judges' scorecards through a shutout against Hopkins. The score totals of the fight were 120-107 on 2 cards and 120-106 on the third, a shutout. Got a couple 2-point rounds for the knockdowns, right? Shut B-Hop out. In round 12, Kovalev landed punches on Hopkins, the most any boxer had ever landed on him in a single round in his 41 fights, recorded by CompuBox. Okay, he had 61, but I guess 20 of them CompuBox wasn't recording. But yeah, that was the most punches ever landed on B-Hop in a fight that was recorded by CompuBox. In a round, recorded by CompuBox. Now, B-Hop earned $1 million, while Kovalev earned $500,000. Kovalev said after the fight, "I'm very happy. This victory was for my son, Alexander." Now, the fight was considered successful as it was watched by an average of 1.3 million viewers. Yeah, Kovalev always did good on there, though. Yeah. Even early in his career, he was a very popular fighter. Yes, he was. Sergey was. So then, Kovalev versus John Pascal was the next one. Kovalev versus Pascal. There they are. On March 14, 2015, Kovalev defended his world titles, 3-belt unified, and fought John Pascal for the WBC Diamond Light Heavyweight title at the Bell Center in Montreal, Canada, live on HBO. That's where Pascal loved to fight in Canada. So Kovalev won it because Kovalev has, like his last 3 or 4 fights, had been in Atlantic City. But he went to Canada to face Pascal. Now, Kovalev had just been named Sports Illustrated 2014 Fighter of the Year. Now, in the 8th round against Pascal, the referee stopped the fight as he felt Pascal was badly injured. But Pascal felt the stoppage was unfair and demanded a rematch, right? At the time of the stoppage, Kovalev led 68-64 on all 3 cards, right? He was stopped in the 8th. They still had, Kovalev was leading by 4 points. They still had 4 rounds to go, but Pascal really had to come on to have a chance to win by points because he was down by 4 points with 4 rounds to go. A knockdown or 2 would have did it or win all 4 rounds, you know? So yeah, but he felt the stoppage was premature. I think, I've never seen that one. I'm gonna have to check that out. Kovalev versus Mohammadi. There they are. Was Kovalev on the right? Sergey. Krusher. Kovalev. Okay. Yeah. Memento. You speak 10 languages. Memento. That's one of them. Okay. Okay. Kovalev versus Muhammadi. Now I got to get back to where I was at. Right there. Okay. Aunt McQueen. What's up, Aunt McQueen? Aunt McQueen thinks you're talking about SOG and Kovalev first fight, right, Aunt? I think Aunt McQueen is saying that SOG won the first fight. Aunt McQueen, salute. Aunt says, no, I can't agree. I think he's talking about the SOG and Kovalev won. Me and City by the Bay said Kovalev won. Aunt says, no, I can't agree. So Aunt says SOG won. Okay. Okay. So now, Muhammadi. On July 25th, 2015, Kovalev fought French fighter Najib Muhammad, right, at the Mandalay Bay Resort Casino in Las Vegas. Now, Kovalev knocked Muhammad down once in the second round and again in the third round. And the second knockdown ended the night and gave Kovalev his 25th knockout victory, right? 25. Kovalev said in the post-fight interview, I wanted more rounds. I wanted him to look like a clown. I wanted him to look foolish. I'm very happy that I got the win. I gave my best. I am happy. I told him to get back up. It was a short show. People didn't see boxing. Well, Abel Sanchez, Muhammad's trainer, believed his boxer was overwhelmed with being on the main event and feeling pressure. Kovalev earned $750,000 and Muhammad earned a career high $270,000. I was laughing about. Kovalev said, I told him to get back up. Yeah. Okay. Well, you shouldn't have hit him so hard, Sergey. That's funny. See, I told him to get back up. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's your fault he was down, Sergey. Okay. Now, the fight was seen by just over 1 million viewers on HBO. Kathy Dubas stated, this promoter, that Kovalev was looking for a homecoming fight next, likely on November 28th in Moscow, because he's fighting in Atlantic City all the time. And she stated she would call promoter Ivan Mikhail to set up a fight with two-time Olympian Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev was just 9-0 at the time. Of course, he had 9 knockouts, right? But that never happened. Oh, yes. We had beat Kovalev in the amateurs, but that fight didn't develop. Now, the fight was unlikely to happen as Beterbiev was advised by Al Heyman and performed on PBC, who were banned by HBO, and Kovalev fought on HBO. Wow. So yeah, that wasn't likely to happen. Okay. So then he faced Pascal again. Kovalev Pascal too. Yeah, it's Pascal, right? Oh man, I'm just hitting buttons. Hell. Yeah. Kovalev Pascal too. Right, I went right past where I wanted to be at. Okay, so remember Pascal finished, he was unhappy with, he said the stoppage was premature and demanded a rematch, and he got it. Kovalev had a rematch with John Pascal on January 30th, 2016 at the Bell Center back in Montreal. You know where Pascal is Canadian, right? On HBO. When Kovalev went back up there again. Now, Pascal was pumped for the rematch, stating it would turn out differently than the first fight, right? Pascal said, I put Kovalev down in the 8th round in the first fight, but the referee called it a slip. But I promise you that Kovalev is going to have a full plate in the rematch. I'm going to have a full plate as well, but I have a new trainer. Freddie Roach was training Pascal this time. Okay, I don't know who was training him in the first fight, but he went and got Freddie this time. Now I'm going to teach Kovalev respect and to respect Canadian boxing fans. Remember, the first fight was up there too. I don't know what Kovalev did that made Pascal think he respected the fans up there. I didn't see either one of these fights though. Well, but anyway, Kovalev dominated the rematch, both outpunching and outlanding Pascal by wide margins. And Kovalev won when Freddie Roach refused to let Pascal continue after the 7th round. So you can't blame on the referee this time. You have to blame your trainer. Freddie Roach stopped the fight. Now, before the scorecards read at the time, Kovalev was throwing a shutout, 70-62 on all 3 cards. Yeah. Now, round 5 was scored 10-8 on all 3 judges' scorecards without a knockdown. That's how bad Kovalev was dominating. He got a 10-8 round without a knockdown. So you really got to have a huge round to get 10-8 without a knockdown. And yeah, Pascal seemed like he did better in the first fight, although he got stopped in both of them. And you know it's bad when your trainer stops the fight. It wasn't the referee the second time. It was his trainer, Freddie Roach. And yeah, Kovalev got a 10-8 round without a knockdown. So I guess it's safe to say he beat the brakes off of him, right? Yeah. After the 10-8 round, Freddie Roach didn't stop it until the 8th or the 7th, but he threatened Pascal he was going to stop it after the 10-8 round if he didn't do any better, right after the 5th round. According to CompuBox stats, Kovalev landed 65 of 412 punches for 40%. Pascal landed 30 of 108 for 28%. Now, after the fight, Kovalev said his future plans would likely include a fight with former super middleweight champion Andre Ward. But he first wanted a unification fight with reigning WBC Adonis Stevenson. Okay? Kovalev called Stevenson Adonis Chickenson during the post-fight interview after the Pascal fight. Adonis Chickenson. Wow. And Stevenson was in attendance at the fight. And Stevenson got in the ring and confronted Kovalev, right? Yep. He did get in the ring. I don't think they fought though. Wow. He called him Adonis Chickenson, leading to Stevenson getting in the ring. But they never fought, right? Now, this fight averaged 1.7 million viewers on HBO and peaked at 1.2 million. That sounds backwards. Because the peak should be more than the average, right? No, not really. Oh, yeah, I read that wrong. The peak is, it averaged 1.1 million and peaked at 1.2. I get ready to say. The peak should be more than the average, right? Yeah, average 1.1 and peaked at 1.2. I guess. I don't know. I'm confusing myself. Let's go. Move on. Now, Kovalev had a warm-up fight on July 11th against Isaac Chilemba. Right? That's him and Isaac. No, that's him and Andre Ward. Okay. Anyway, he had a warm-up fight against Isaac Chilemba in Russia at the Palace of Sports. It was the first time in 5 years that he returned to Russia for a fight to defend his WBA, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight titles. Now, Chilemba was known for having a similar style to Andre Ward. So yeah, he was getting ready to go into the Ward fight, so that's why he had to warm up against Chilemba, because Chilemba had a style similar to Andre, okay? Now, Kovalev tipped the scales at 174.6 pounds, while Chilemba weighed in at 174.8. Kovalev won a unanimous punch decision over Chilemba. Now, the 3 judges at ringside scored the fight widely. 117-110, 116-111, and 118-109, right? 12-round fight, all in favor of Sergey. Now, in round 7, Chilemba staggered across the ropes and was down by a straight left with a right to the jaw. And the fight aired on HBO and averaged 355,000 viewers. So then he suffered consecutive defeats to Andre Ward. Let's talk about the Ward fights that Sergey had. Time permitting, we're going to talk about some other great Russian fighters too. You know, like Kostya. He was born in Russia, but he's known for Australia. But yes, Peterbiev, Bivol, Alexander Povetkin. Yeah, we're going to talk about some other Russian fighters. I think we're going to have time at the end. Okay, so now Kovalev versus Ward. Okay. On June 16th, 2016, it was announced that a contract had been signed between Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward. And Andre was 30-0 at the time. And the fight would take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada on November 19th of that same year, 2016. Now, both fighters were undefeated coming into the fight, right? Kovalev lost a closely contested, controversial decision, with all the judges scoring the fight, 114-113 in favor of Ward. Very close fight. So you really can't call it a robbery, okay? I was leaning Kovalev with City by the Bay. Ed McQueen was leaning Ward, but it was a really close fight. You can't really call it a robbery. 114-113 on all three cards, okay? Now, Larry Merchant stated after the fight, it was a classic hometown decision. Yeah, Larry Merchant said Ward got some hometown cooking, right? Now, Kovalev won Larry Merchant said he thought Kovalev won the fight also. Now, Garrett Davies, boxing correspondent, gave the fight to Kovalev too, 115-112, as did Max Kellerman. Now, his promoter, Kathy Duba, said, Kovalev's promoter, we got a great fight, which is what boxing needed. But we also got a bad decision, which is not what boxing needed. Oh, that's what Kathy Duba was Kovalev's promoter. And she was saying that Andre won the fight. Wow. Remember? Yes, it was with Kovalev. Wow. Very interesting. But many boxing experts have applauded the decision. Paulie Malignaggi noted the high degree of difficulty both fighters faced that night and doubted the prospect of a one-sided affair in the case of a rematch, though he concluded that Kovalev faded late in the fight. Now, promoter Eddie Hearn added that Kovalev lacked a sense of urgency after the halfway point. Yeah, I think Kovalev had left Kathy Duba at that point. I know she used to be his promoter. I believe he had left him then. Now, Bel Sanchez noticed how Kovalev allowed Ward on the inside, and as a result, was worn down. For the fight, Kovalev received a minimum of $2 million, and Ward got a career high of $5 million. The CompuBox stats showed that Kovalev landed 126 of 474 punches, 27%. Andre landed 116 of 334, 34%. So Andre had the better percentage, right? Kovalev threw and landed more, but Andre had the better percentage, okay? Now, the fight was reported to have accomplished 160,000 buys on HBO pay-per-view. And a replay was shown on HBO prior to the Lomachenko-Walters title fight, which averaged 834 views. Now, the event produced a live gate of $3.3 million from 10,066 complimentary tickets. Now, the full attendance as announced as 13,310. And the venue was set up to hold 14,227. So not bad. You got over 13,000. And the venue set up to hold 14,000. So Kovalev Ward 2, immediate rematch. Okay? Which was good. You know, close controversial fight, run it back. Kovalev Ward 2. Okay. Crush the legend. What's up, Crush? Salute. Crush the legend in the building. I've been missing Crush in the morning because I'm doing a little project. I'm on early, but yeah, I finished it today. So I will be back Monday, Crush, for sure. But salute, Crush the legend. 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. Coffee and donuts. Or whatever you drink in the morning. I drink hot chocolate. It might be a cold beer you drink in the morning. Whatever you drink in the morning, you will enjoy it much better watching Crush the legend. I promise. But salute, Crush. Yeah, Sergey Kovalev today. So we just had the controversial fight in Kovalev Ward 1. Still controversial to this day. Because me and City by the Bay said Kovalev and said Ward. So that's one of them ones that's always going to be controversial. But the good thing about it, they had a 2. Okay? It's an immediate rematch. Kovalev Ward 2. Okay? Now Kovalev's manager, Aegis Klimas or Klimas, I don't know. Klimas. Okay. This is the guy's name. I don't know. Klimas. He's either Klimas or Klimas. Okay. There it is right there. Him. That was Kovalev's manager. What happened? How come it didn't go in? Oh boy. Live chat. Why didn't I just keep going? Trying to put something in the chat. Bear with me. There it is. Yeah, that's the man's name right there. Is that Klimas or Klimas? Okay. Okay, but that was Kovalev's manager. He announced that negotiations had begun for the rematch between Ward and Kovalev. Now, according to the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the T-Mobile Arena was reserved for June 17th, 2017 on HBO pay-per-view. So about a month before that, on March 24th, 2017, Kovalev revealed on social media that he had signed his end of the deal. It was also noted that the rematch would take place at the Mandalay Bay in Paradise, Nevada on HBO pay-per-view. So they said the T-Mobile was reserved, but they had it at the Mandalay Bay. But what is it, like right down the street or something? I don't know. I know they both in Las Vegas. So on April 4th, Rock Nation Sports and Main Events confirmed the terms were agreed for the rematch to take place on HBO pay-per-view. And the fight was billed as no excuses, right? No excuses. The Las Vegas Sun newspaper confirmed the fight would take place at the Mandalay Bay Event Center. On April 10th, Kathy Dubas said there would be no rematch clause in place for a third fight, which meant the winner would not be obliged to fight another rematch. Okay? Now the fight purses were revealed before the fight, with Ward earning a guarantee of $6.5 million and Kovalev not having a base purse, receiving a percentage of the pay-per-view and gate revenue. That's how I would have did it too. Still gonna be up in the millions, right? Might get more than a base purse, yeah. So I think that's a pretty smart move. But I don't know, because Andre getting 6.5 million guaranteed plus a percentage of the pay-per-view in the gate. So I don't know. I might have took a base and a percentage, but anyway, that's how it was. Andre had a base of 6.5 million and getting some of the gate and the pay-per-view, and Sergey didn't take a base. He's just gonna take a percentage of the gate and the pay-per-view. Okay. But anyway, at the end of the fight, two judges had Ward ahead 67-66, while the third had it 68-65 in favor of Kovalev. Right? So Ward got it again. Now, CompuBox stats showed that Ward landed 80 of 238 punches for 34%, while Kovalev landed 95 of 407 for 23%. Again, Kovalev outthrew and outlanded Ward, but Ward had the higher percentage, right? And after the fight, Ward commended Kovalev in the post-fight interview He said, he's a great fighter, and I have nothing but respect for him. First time around, the man is world champion, and he's been on top for a long time. I give him credit. He is a great fighter, and when you fight great fighters, you have to raise your game. Now, 2 good fights, they should have had a trilogy, but it was in the contract, that the winner didn't have to give a rematch, but they still could have had a trilogy. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that one again. Wood and Kovalev. Not at all. Now Kovalev said the fight could have continued. I don't know. I can't explain it. Not every round, but I thought I was doing very good. I was better, and he was better this fight. I didn't feel like I was getting knocked down with his punches. I could have continued, right? But at the time, Wood still was winning at the time the fight ended. The Kovalev said, I didn't feel the punch. This is fighting. We are boxers. Yes, he did punch me, but he did not hurt me. The fight should have continued. Yeah. According to Yahoo Sports, the fight generated around 130 million buys on HBO pay-per-view. The fight was stopped in the 8th round, right? And Wood was slightly ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't even tell you that before. I went straight to the scores at the time of the fight. But Wood was ahead 67-66 on 2 cards, and Kovalev was ahead 68-65 on 1 at the time of the stop. But they stopped it in the 8th round and gave it to Andre. Okay? My bad, I'm sorry. I flew right past that. Okay, so Wood got both fights. Got the stoppage in the second one. Kovalev felt it was premature. Now the fight generated around 130,000 buys on HBO pay-per-view. The replay was shown on regular HBO, which averaged 752,000 viewers and peaked at 947,000 during the final round. Now the event produced $2,187,000 from 6,366 tickets sold, including complimentary tickets. Now the number of attendees was announced to be 10,592. Now Kovalev spoke to reporters in Russia on June 27, 2017. This is what I was waiting for, what they made. Oh wait, they didn't tell me. And he confirmed that he would be making changes to his training, to his team, which included a new head trainer, meaning he would part ways with John David Jackson, right? Due to having issues making the light heavyweight limit, Kovalev considered moving up to cruiserweight. Reports also suggested that Ward's trainer, Virgil Hunter, offered his services to Kovalev. On October 26th, Kovalev announced that he got Abor Putalov as his new trainer. Wow. That was his new trainer. He has to be Russian. Okay. Put that in there. I didn't even understand what I said myself when I said that name. Okay. Yeah, this is who Kovalev got as his new trainer. Oh my goodness. Not that. Stay with me for a moment, please. I'm trying to put this new trainer in there because I can't pronounce it. I tried. I didn't even understand what I said. The man's name was Tursun Pulatev. That might be it. Tursun Pulas. I don't know. But that's it. Okay, let's go on. That's supposed to be an A. I spelled it wrong. That was his new trainer. Okay. And this guy was most known for training and developing amateurs. Okay. He trained a Russian that won a gold medal in the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics. Okay. So now, second reign is WBO light heavyweight title. He did become champion again. Second reign as champion. Define Arnie. What's up, Define Arnie? How are you today? We're talking about Sergey Krusher Kovalev today. Okay? Just lost the second consecutive fight to Andre Ward, but he did become champion again at light heavyweight. He did go to cruiserweight at the end, but I don't think he won a title at cruiserweight. But second reign is the WBO light heavyweight champion. Kovalev versus Shabransky. That's easy. Shabransky. Just syllabalize that. That's him and Shabransky there. Okay. Kovalev versus Shabransky. On November 25th, Kovalev appeared on Boxing After Dark against light heavyweight contender Vyacheslav Shabransky in a scheduled 10-round fight. This is at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Now, Kovalev spoke about the consecutive defeats to Ward. I learned a lot from my fights with Andre Ward. When you don't win and when you suffer adversity, it makes you stronger. It also shows you who your real friends are. I feel like I cleaned out my life and now I'm ready to start fresh. I'm very excited to get back in the ring and fight at Madison Square Garden for the first time. And I'm focused on the future. I'm not looking back. Kovalev told Ring TV that he would not have a lead trainer for the fight. On October 12th, Main Events asked the WBO to sanction the fight for their vacant title following Andre Ward's retirement from boxing. Okay? So the WBO was on the line. At the time, his opponent, Shabransky, was not ranked by the WBO. He was in the top 15. Wow. On October 26th, the WBO decided to sanction the fight, also meaning the fight would now be a 12-round fight. It was started out as 10, right? But once the WBO sanctioned it for their title, they had to go to 12. On November 15th, the IBA announced that they would be sanctioning the fight also for their vacant light heavyweight title, International Boxing Association, not one of the big four. Now, the IBA title was last held by Babu Shumanov until he lost to Bernard Hopkins in April 2014. B-Hop had retired by then. Okay, so it was vacant. I guess he had retired. But due to Hopkins not paying their sanctioning dues, the title remained vacant. 2017, was B-Hop still fighting? But he didn't have this title because he refused to pay the sanctioning fees. B-Hop probably like the IBA. I ain't paying no sanctioning fees to no damn IBA. I got to pay to the big ones. But Kovalev regained the WBO title after stopping Shabransky in the second round. He knocked Shabransky down 3 times during the fight before it was stopped, 3 times in 2 rounds. Now, speaking to Max Kellerman of HBO after the fight, Kovalev said, "I did it. I worked really hard. Mentally, physically, I'm back. It's my goal to be the best in the division." The last fight, I was stopped against Ward. It was a decision the referee made. Here tonight was great boxing for me, and I love boxing, and I am here to make great fights. And he also went on to say that he would like unification fights going forward. Okay? So he fought McCalkin next. Kovalev versus McCalkin. So immediately after defeating Shabransky, Kovalev stated that he would return to the theater, Madison Square Garden, on March 3rd, 2018, in the hopes of joining a unification fight with Artur Beterbiev, who had the IBF, Dmitry Bivol had the WBA, or Donna Stevens, who had the WBC, because Kovalev had the WBO, remember? The belts was all spread out in 4 different hands. Kovalev WBO, Beterbiev IBF, Bivol WBA, Adonis Stevenson WBC. Now, on December 18th, ESPN reported a deal was close to being made for Kovalev to defend his WBO title against IBO title holder McCarkin. None of the big ones, IBO. Okay? And McCarkin was on a 10-fight winning streak. Now, the fight took place on March 3rd, 2018. All this is 2018, back at Madison Square Garden. Initially, McCarkin was in talks with contender Marcus Brown for a final eliminator. Now, Kovalev retained his world title and defeated McCarkin by TKO in the 7th round. Now, after the fight, Kovalev said, "This was better work for me than my last fight against Shabransky." He said, "It may have looked easy, but it was not easy tonight." Okay? So, still didn't get any of the other 3 champions in the ring. This was he fought back-to-back fights with Eliter Alvarez. Okay? Still didn't get any Beterbiev, Bivol, or Stevenson in the ring yet. So he went to Eliter Alvarez. On March 18th, a deal was made, 2018 still, for Kovalev to defend his WBO title against Brown at the Hulu Theater, Marcus Brown at Madison Square Garden on HBO. A date as early as June 23rd was discussed, but not finalized. On April 6th, Brown was arrested for domestic violence. And on April 18th, Kovalev announced he would instead fight longtime WBC mandatory Eliter Alvarez. Alvarez was 23-0, right? So he fought him that summer. So Michael Promotions, he was the promoter for Alvarez and Stevenson, was unable to come up with an agreement for a step-aside fee for Alvarez to allow Stevenson to fight Badu Jack in May 2018. Now, Alvarez's manager, Stephane Lepine, then contacted Main Event for a possible fight. On August 4th, the fight with Kovalev took place at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, the arena was a sellout with a crowd of 5,642 in attendance. In a shocking upset, Alvarez won the fight by TKO in round 7 to claim Kovalev's WBO title. He messed around and got beat. Before he could get any of the other 3 champions in the ring, he lost his title. Kovalev was knocked down 3 times in the 7th round before the fight was stopped. Not only lost to this guy, Alvarez, not Canelo, Eliter Alvarez, got stopped. So there goes the unification with Stevenson, Beterbiev, and Bivol. For the first 6 rounds, Kovalev fought well. He used his jab and landed right hands on the outside. Now he hit it in the round 7, ahead on the scorecards. 59-55 on 2 of them, 58-56 on the 3rd one. But in round 7, he was caught and dropped by a hard 1-2 combination from Alvarez. Now Kovalev beat the count, but instead of trying to hold on because he was still hurt, instead of trying to clinch, he attempted to brawl, only to get caught again and got dropped 2 more times. That's when referee David Fields stepped in and stopped the fight at 2:45 of the round. Only had 15 seconds left in the round, right? Damn. Alvarez explained that part of the game plan was to wait for Kovalev to tire After the fight, Kathy Duba confirmed there was a rematch clause in the contract, but was unsure if the rematch would take place straight away. So she's still Kovalev's promoter. But remember when he fought Ward the first time, she said Ward had won the fight. That's why I thought he had left her. Remember? But it looked like Kathy Duba is still his promoter. Mm-hmm. Now, Kovalev was hospitalized as a precaution. He thanked his fans for their support and hinted at retirement after he lost to Alvarez, okay? He hinted at retirement. Through a translator, Alvarez said, "Words cannot describe how I feel. I want to thank God and all my fans in Canada and Colombia. This was all for them. It was a two-punch combination for the final knockdown that I have been throwing my whole career, and we worked on it in camp." Yeah. Like I said, after the fight, Kovalev was taken to a hospital, okay? He said in a video statement from the hospital, "I feel okay. Thank you, everyone." Put Kovalev in the hospital. That was a huge upset there. But guess what? They had a rematch, okay? He got him back in there, okay? So Kovalev, Alvarez 2. Kovalev, Alvarez 2. There it is. Ray Patterson. What's up, RP? In the building. I'm on Sergey Kovalev today. Yeah, he got upset by this guy, Alvarez, but then they did make a rematch. So let's see what happened in the rematch. Did he get his title back? Because he was trying to get a fight. The belts were all spread out. Adonis Stevenson had one, Viterbi had one, and Bivol had one at that time. And Kovalev was trying to get a unification fight, but then he messed around and get lost. But he did get a rematch. So let's see what happened in the rematch. This is the guy that took his title from it, Alvarez. So Kovalev, Alvarez 2. Did he get his belt back? On August 25th, 2018, Kovalev said he would, because he thought about retiring after the first fight, but it was a rematch clause. So Kovalev decided to exercise the rematch clause, right? And the fight needed to occur by February 2019 to make the clause go into effect. So he went on and exercised it, right? Yeah, that's RP straight out of New Jersey, by the way, where Kovalev loved to fight it. You ever see Kovalev fight up there, RP? He fought in New Jersey a lot. Okay, now early talks indicated the rematch would take place in December of 2018. Now, a stumbling block appeared when HBO confirmed they were not fully committed to airing a rematch between the two fighters. Why not? This big upset, this guy took Kovalev's title. And Kovalev was a big name by then. I don't know why HBO wasn't interested. But anyway, Kathy Duba stated at any point competing networks could bid on the fight. All HBO needed to do was match the highest bid to broadcast the fight because they had the rights. You know, other networks could bid on it. Whoever won the bid, as long as HBO matched the highest bid, they would still retain the rights to the fight. Okay, so on September 14th, it was announced the ESPN would broadcast the rematch. So HBO went on and let ESPN have it. ESPN was the highest bidder, but HBO could have matched their bid and still broadcast the fight. But HBO, like they said, they weren't interested. So ESPN was announced that they was going to be the network to broadcast the rematch. So the fight took place on February 2nd, 2019 at the Ford Center in Frisco, Texas. Now, Kovalev had a new trainer again. Remember, he had got rid of his two trainers now. His new trainer this time was Buddy McGirt, right? First time working with Buddy. And in his 3 fights with the guy I put in the chat. See him up there? Nelson Pulapa Chobe or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. See? The S supposed to be an A. Okay? So Kovalev ended his training relationship with him and brought Buddy McGirt in for this rematch because he wanted to win this. Now, before a crowd of 4,877, Kovalev fought the perfect fight and put on a performance to regain the WBO title. He beat Alvarez by unanimous decision after 12 rounds, got his title back. Now, Alvarez won some of the earlier rounds, but once Kovalev settled into a rhythm, using his jab, he was able to keep Alvarez at range, which he continued to do for the remainder of the fight. Because remember, when Alvarez caught him in the first fight in the 8th round, Kovalev was ahead on all 3 cards. So this time he just didn't get caught. Basically the same fight, but just, didn't get caught by Alvarez this time. Kovalev had better conditioning in the rematch, with the main difference being, instead of going toe-to-toe, he focused more on boxing. He fought smart and avoided clinches. Now, Alvarez did his best to try and slug it out using holds and headlocks. It was the corner advice from Buddy McGirt, which really helped Kovalev this time. And Buddy helped him stay focused between rounds. Kovalev he slowed down the pace in the middle rounds. Now, it appeared to tire, but he got his second win in the championship rounds to finish the fight strong. Now, the judges scored it. One judge had a shutout, 120-108, 116-112 on the other 2 cards. All for Sergey, okay? All for Sergey. Now, following the fight, in the post-fight interview, Sergey said, "My goal was to box. He was looking for the big punch again, but I kept boxing. Only time I got hurt was when I got a thumb in the eye, okay? Alvarez had no excuses, but felt if it came down to a decision, he would lose, which he did, right? So yeah, he got his title back, okay? So after that fight, he went up against the Yard Man, Anthony Yard. Okay? Still didn't get any of the other champions in there. So he fought Anthony Yard. Okay? I think Stevenson was almost getting ready to retire around that time anyway. So Kovalev versus Yard. So he never fought any of them. Bivol, Beterbiev, Stevenson, none of them. Okay? On April 2nd, 2019, WBO ordered Kovalev to defend his world title against British challenger Anthony Yard. Yard was undefeated with 17 knockouts. Okay? Now, a 30-day negotiation period was given to both parties. A purse bid would be a 75-25 split in favor of Kovalev. Okay? On April 2nd, a purse bid was scheduled, only to be postponed to allow negotiations to continue. On April 18th, WBO President Paco Valcarcel stated the fight to take place. Yard reportedly signed his contract on May 11th, awaiting an announcement for the fight. It's going to be in Russia. On June 5th, Yard's promoter Frank Warren hit out at the organizers as the fight had yet to be announced. Kathy Duba said the organizers in Russia wanted to hold off the fight until August 2019. This was not being agreed to by Yard and his team, and a solution was requested. The WBO then scheduled a new purse bid for June 11th, only to be postponed to June 18th after both teams again attempted to make their own deal to avoid the purse bid, right? On July 12th, after months of negotiations, the fight between Kovalev and Anthony Yard was formally announced by the Russian Boxing Federation, the RBF, to take place at Traktor Arena in Kovalev's hometown in Russia. I'm not even going to attempt the name of his hometown. It's got like 40 letters. And it would start with a C and end with a K, okay? But anyway, it was in Russia, in Kovalev's hometown, right? Now, Yard told the press, "This is my time, and I am going to show the world what I am all about. I am more than happy to achieve my goal in Russia, and I think it is only right that a great world champion such as Kovalev is given the opportunity to defend in his home country." But Yard said he going over there and take that bad boy from Kovalev in front of him in his hometown. Yard said he has earned that right to perform in his hometown to get his title taken. I added that part. But that's pretty much what Yard was saying. I'm going over there and take it. Now, Frank Warren, Yard's promoter, Frank was confident in Yard winning the fight. And Frank Warren stated the key reason as to allowing the fight to take place in Russia, because he was confident Yard was going to win it. On July 25th, it became known that Kovalev was negotiating a deal to fight Canelo Alvarez in October 2019, even before he fought Yard, right? He was looking forward to a Canelo fight. And that would be Canelo's light heavyweight debut. There was reports implying the fight with Yard would be scrapped if Golden Boy Promotions and Main Events, Kovalev's promoter, successfully negotiated a deal. But they were just going to go around Yard. But I think they would have had to give him some step-aside money or something. But anyway, Canelo was ordered by the IBF to defend his title against Sergey Derevyanchenko. Sergey Derevyanchenko. Okay. That's right. Derevyanchenko. I think. I heard it said so many times. Anyway, John Skipper, who was the Zone's executive chairman, where Canelo was tied into a contract, stated the streaming service would only approve Kovalev or a trilogy fight with Gennady Golovkin as Canelo's next fight. Now, according to Aegis Klimas, and a member of Kovalev's team, an agreement was in place for Kovalev to fight Canelo if he was to defeat Yard. On August 8th, Canelo decided to wait until after Kovalev's fight with Yard to decide his next opponent. Yard revealed he was approached multiple times for step-aside offers. Yeah, they would have had to give him step-aside because the contract was already signed. They just couldn't sign another contract, right? When Yard already had a contract. And he said he was approached multiple times to take step-aside, right? He said he was first offered less than his purse for the Kovalev fight, then offered the same amount. Yard joked that these offers needed to be more than double the purse for him to consider step-aside. I would have took the same amount. You're getting the same amount for doing nothing. So yeah, I wouldn't take less, but you offering me step-aside for the same amount I'm gonna get paid to get in the ring and fight? Give it here. Take the same amount for doing nothing? Hell yeah. But Yard said, he jokingly said he wanted double. But then Canelo said he would be willing to wait, that Kovalev first fight Yard first. Now during fight week, Kovalev spoke to reporters to explain the reason why he turned down a last-minute 8-figure offer from Canelo. It was due to the Yard fight only being 3 weeks away, because he had did all the training and everything. So yeah, might as well go through with it. The tickets were already on sale too, and being sold for the Kovalev Yard fight. Also, the matter that Kovalev was defending his world titles in front of his own fans in his hometown, having fought the majority of his career in the United States. Because you know damn well Canelo wasn't going to his hometown and fight him. If he wanted to fight in front of his hometown, it had to be Yard, because the Canelo fight was not going to be in Russia. You can bet the farm on that. He said that was part of the reason for going through with the Yard fight, because he wanted to fight in front of his hometown. And yeah, Canelo wasn't going to no Russian fighter. That was not happening. Now, speaking to Steve Bunce, Kovalev said he wanted 5 more fights and a chance to become undisputed champion. Now, Yard made his mission to win the fight by knockout and ruin Kovalev's plans to fight Canelo. Okay. After 11 rounds, Kovalev knocked Yard out, ending the fight by TKO and retaining his WBO and ESP. What is ESP? Light heavyweight title, some kind of European title, I guess. The Yard seemed comfortable in the early round, staying out of range and keeping Kovalev at bay with speed and movement. That's the same thing Yard did against Kuteryev, remember? After 6 rounds of an even back and forth contest, Yard began landing hooks to Kovalev's body in the 7th and 8th rounds that appeared to hurt Kovalev. In the last minute of the 8th round, Yard landed a straight right hand to the head of Kovalev, which had him in trouble. Yard followed up with a salvo of power punches, but was unable to capitalize, allowing a visibly hurt Kovalev to stay on his feet for the remainder of the round. After his success, Yard appeared tired because he tired himself out trying to get Kovalev out of there, and it didn't get him out of there, and it was out of gas, right? And then when he came back out, he didn't have the same movement, allowing Kovalev to take control of the fight with combination punches and stiff jabs that began to frequently land on Yard. In the 10th round saw much of the same. In the final 20 seconds of the 9th round, Yard was seemingly saved by the bell, which appeared to ring 8 seconds before the end of the round. Right? 10th round. Seemed like the bell rung early, but Yard was saved. Then in the 9th round, the 11th round, sensing Yard's fatigue, Kovalev upped the pressure and increased his punch output, eventually dropping Yard with a sparing left jab win to win the fight by knockout. At the time of the stoppage, all 3 judges had Kovalev ahead, with the scorecards reading 98-92, 97-94, 96-92. Yeah, I saw that fight, and it seemed like Yard was doing good, but when he got Kovalev, he was pacing himself in boxing. When he landed those shots and got Kovalev in trouble, I think he expended too much energy. He just went for it, and he didn't get Kovalev out of there. And by the next round, Yard had just punched himself out, and he never was able to fight the same fight after that. And Kovalev sensed that and went on the attack. And that was all she wrote for Yard. But yeah, there's something like the better BF fight. Yard did well through like 5 or 6 rounds, but like he ran out of gas. And Kovalev got him. But then Kovalev versus Canelo. So they did make the Canelo fight next. And we're going to start skimming through these. Kovalev versus Canelo. This on November 2nd, 2019, right? This was Canelo's first fight at light heavyweight, was against Kovalev, right? Now, the first 10 rounds was competitive. And Kovalev was finding success with his jab. Canelo threw a left hook, straight right combination that stopped Kovalev in the 11th round. After the fight, Kovalev suggested that it had always been unlikely to win the fight due to the grueling schedule of back-to-back training camps, which resulted from the short period of time between the Yard and Alvarez fight. But he had agreed to the fight regardless due to the high financial incentive, right? Yeah. Then he had a couple of canceled fights after the Canelo fight against had a couple of canceled fights against Barrera and Melakuziev, okay? But then had a few more fights. Yeah, that would have took forever right there. Bear with me. I'm trying to land the plane now. Gee, McChrystal. Oh, I think I missed something. Yeah, he had after the Canelo fight, he had a couple of canceled fights, okay? get through that. And that was old Kovalev, you know. He was well up into his career at that point when he fought Canelo. Yeah. Big card tonight, though. They're all women's card. I'm looking forward to that one. Who y'all got in the Shanasia Green and Savannah Marshall fight? I'm leaning Savannah. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Savannah Marshall in that one. Yeah, December 2019, though, it was reported that Kovalev was offered a fight in Russia in 2020. Now, there were talks of a showdown between Kovalev and light heavyweight contender Sullivan Barrera to take place in April or May. Barrera had already signed his contract for the fight, which would be broadcast on DAZN. On March 4th, the fight was confirmed to take place at a catch weight of 180 pounds, 5 pounds over the light heavyweight limit, right? Now, Kovalev was owed $2.5 million by Golden Boy following his defeat to Canelo. Now, during the promotion of the fight, Kovalev stated, "I'm happy to be on my way back to World Championship fights." Now, Barrera, he was a Cuban fighter, and even though Kovalev said, "I had never faced any Cuban fighters as a pro. Back in my amateur days, it was always Russian boxers competing with Cuban boxers. So I'm looking forward to remembering my amateur boxing." Barrera said, "This will be the most important fight of my career because I have always pursued fights with Sergey Kovalev." But the fight didn't happen. Because not long after the fight was made official, the card was postponed, along with many other boxing events, due to the coronavirus, right? That was right around that period. So it never happened. The fight with Barrera, due to the coronavirus. Yeah, remember they started having fights out in Las Vegas in front of nobody. No fans or nothing. I remember the Teofimo Loma fight was in the bubble. That was weird. Wasn't nobody in there. But he did go to cruiserweight. Okay. Sergey did go to cruiserweight during his career. In January 2022, Kovalev was rumored to make his cruiserweight debut on Triller Fight Club against former light heavyweight contender Main Fanlong, with the event taking place on March 12th. It was scheduled to be the headline for the card. Now, Fanlong was coming off a unanimous decision win over Israel Duffus in October 2021. Kovalev revealed his plans to challenge for a cruiserweight world title with 3 to 4 fights and to then retire from boxing. Now, the agreement with Golden Boy Promotions to promote his next fight had now gone to arbitration, according to Aegis Klimas. He did not confirm whether the failed drug test voided the agreement. On March 4th, it was reported the card would take place at the Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles, with a new date of May 14th. 4 days later, Fanlong pulled out of the fight, citing his feet. No, he said Triller was dragging his feet, and he opted to fight former world champion John Pascal instead. So Kovalev did fight Pulev. He had a fight against Pulev. Okay. Had a fight against Safari Safar. I think that might have been his last one. No, it's retirement fight. against Archer Mann. It was announced on March 6, 2025. Yeah, last fought it this year. March 6, 2025. The Kovalev would take part in a retirement fight in his home city of Russia against German boxer Archer Mann. The fight was scheduled for April 19th in a 10-round fight. Mann was coming off a knockout win over Ian in November 2024, having previously lost to top contender Kevin Farina and Maurice Breeders in his career. Kovalev explained how the fight with Mann was made. He said, "I know nothing about him, but I was given a choice of 5 or 6 opponents, and I chose him. He has the most technique of the opponents. He could have selected. He's the most dangerous and the best boxer. Other guys were very amateur-like." He also stated his reason to retire was mainly due to inactivity, having only fought twice since his 2019 stoppage loss to Canelo. Yes, I thought he was retired. Now, had Kovalev been more active during this time, he was more open to continue his career. Kovalev is not in favor of having big gaps between fights. Now, during fight week, Kovalev was asked what he would do in retirement. He replied, "What am I going to do? I don't know. I'm going to be busy with my kids. His son is 10, daughter 6. Have fun, like enjoy my life." He reiterated his stance on his retirement. Now, the fight was streamed live for free on YouTube and Facebook from Boxing News. Yeah, Kovalev just fought in March. Did anybody know that? I sure didn't. They finished his 16-year career at the Unos Arena with a 7th-round TKO win over Mann. In the second round, Mann was dropped from a short left. He beat the count, but was visibly hurt and got through a barrage of heavy punches. He was dropped again at the end of the same round, but this was ruled a slip. Now, he did well in the 3rd and 4th rounds, tagging Kovalev with short punches, but at the same time, he was on the receiving end of stiff jabs from Kovalev. Kovalev still had that nice jab, I guess, which opened up a cut over Mann's right eye. The end of the fight came after Kovalev landed a left-right-left combination, dropping Mann. He beat the count, but seeing he was on unsteady legs, his corner stopped the fight. The official time of stoppage was 49 seconds of round 7. The knockout was the 30th in Kovalev's career, and his record improved to 36 wins, 5 losses, 11 draws. No, 1 draw. He does have an 80% knockout ratio, Sergey does. 83.3% for his career. Now, he had some legal troubles. Let's look at his legal troubles, and then we're going to close the book on Sergey. Yeah. I think he had some substance abuse, domestic abuse charge on it. Come on. Yeah. I think I went past it. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I'm at the end. Yeah, he did have domestic abuse charge. I wanted to look at that right quick. Because I had some other great Russian boxers too we was going to talk about. Look like we're going to run out of time though. Since we was on a Russian boxer, Sergey today. But here it is right here. Okay. Let me get to the beginning of it. Sergey. Yeah, they got felony assault charge. Okay. They got to be careful, man. These women know you got money. They out there. They think you're going to settle out of court and don't want their attention. So, Fred Tank got locked up this morning. I ain't hear too much about that. I was looking at the 12 o'clock news and they mentioned, I was like, what? What's going on with that, anybody? I got to look into that. Tank was arrested this morning? Wow. Felony assault charge. On June 9th, 2018, Kovalev was arrested in California for punching a woman in the face. Oh, Sergey. The woman suffered a broken nose, a concussion, and a displaced disc in her neck. He was charged with assault, likely to cause great bodily injury, which is a felony. This sounds familiar. Did we go over this before? Anyway, Sergey pleaded not guilty on August 27, 2018, and he was released on $50,000 bail. On April 4th, 2019, Sergey was held to answer for felony assault, causing great bodily injury. The court found that there was enough evidence to proceed to trial on the felony charge. So it looked like he got indicted on that. Wow. Kovalev was arraigned on April 19, 2019, and was also sued by the woman in San Bernardino County Superior Court. So he had a criminal and civil case against him. In January 2020, the accuser filed a new lawsuit against Kovalev in federal court in Los Angeles, alleging that the parties reached a $650,000 settlement. I told you that's all it's always about. Finding the man with some money, getting the settle out of court. He paid the $650,000, $500,000, over $500,000 in October 2019. But she went to federal court saying that Kovalev then breached the agreement by not making the agreed upon payments. Now, because the original suit was not to be dismissed until Kovalev paid the entire $650,000, that suit also remained active. So now she got him in federal court, and the civil suit she had in state court is still going on because that wasn't going to be ended until he actually paid the money, which he didn't pay. Now, the victim voluntarily dismissed the breach of contract lawsuit in September 2020, but the original assault lawsuit remained pending and was set for trial beginning January 2021. On October 22nd, 2020, 3 days before his felony assault trial was scheduled to begin, Kovalev pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor charge of fighting, noise, offensive words. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation and 2 days of time served. He was also required to complete an anger management course and pay court costs. A few weeks later, Kovalev's accuser filed to dismiss her assault lawsuit. Yeah, she got hit off. You dismissing all that. Yeah, she got hit off. But there you have it, the life and career of Sergey Kovalev. Yeah, got to be careful out here, man. They looking for people with money to sue. So, what it is? It says this tank case was something happened around Father's Day. Damn, wasn't that last one? So, why is it just coming up today? Say 9:30 this morning. I'm looking at the mugshot. It's got 9:30 a.m. July 11th. Today's July 11th, right? Damn, tank. Wasn't he still on probation from the hit and run thing? 3 years? Because that was in 2023. 3 years haven't went past yet. Damn, tank. Oh boy. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, but I appreciate everybody. It's Friday. That's the end of another big week of boxing history. I think Monday we're going to look at some prospects. Look at some the best young prospects in boxing. Okay, Monday. Got that big card tonight. Taylor Serrano 3. I'm leaning Taylor. Again, I was leaning Taylor the first 2 times, but leaning Taylor again. I'm not Taylor, Serrano. Serrano is the profile next month, the first Friday for the active fighter too. Amanda Serrano. Yeah. And then tomorrow, have the Shiraz, Edgar Berlanga, and Shakur and Zepeda. They say it's a co-main event. Look at the main event as the names at the top, which is Berlanga and Shiraz, right? So yeah, I got Shakur being dominant in that one. Yeah, there's levels to this. And everybody, they talking those words running already. You got somebody that fights one way, just high volume punching. So you expect the other guy to stand up in there and throw high volume punches with him. When you got good footwork, good at managing range, and excellent ring general, but you want that guy to stand up there and throw punches with the high volume punching. If he doesn't, he's a runner. Go figure. Like Roger Mayweather said, some people don't know shit about boxing. Just think about that. Taylor's a high volume puncher. Likes to stand there and trade. Shakur got great footwork, an excellent ring general, great at managing range and distance. But they want him to stand up in there and slug it out with Zepeda. Because that's all Zepeda know how to do. So that's what Shakur is supposed to do. Or if he doesn't, he's a runner. People are crazy, man. And after Shakur beat his ass and dominated, they're going to be, he ran. No, like Shakur said, stop him from running, Zepeda. Zepeda, stop him from running, right? If he runs, stop him. If you can't, oh well, you lose. Don't call a man a runner, stop him. Cut the ring off. If you can, but you probably can't, so. His fan boards will result to saying Shakur ran. When Zepeda can't catch up with him. The object is to get your hands raised at the end, though. Doing what you do best. Shakur is a master boxer. But Zepeda might mess around and get knocked out. If he can force Shakur into trading with him, that might lead to Zepeda getting knocked out. Okay? It might get him knocked out. I wouldn't put that past happening. Right, ending with Zepeda being knocked out. But it's tomorrow. We ain't got long to wait. Tonight is the big women's card. Enjoy. Okay. Monday we're gonna talk about some young bucks. Hope everybody enjoyed. Sergey, Krusher, Kovalev. Appreciate everybody today. RP, Fine Arnie won. Crush the Legend, Aunt McQueen, City by the Bay, Al Booger, Drunk Irishman, Mike Rim, Mike Mazik, Miss Cass. Oh man. I see Miss Cass may never. I gotta ready to go to the supermarket. I was hoping this show lasts, but let's keep talking till like 8 o'clock now. Okay. But I appreciate everybody. 1000%. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll talk about these big fights Monday on some link time. Okay? Sergey was a long one. Another big week of boxing history coming up next week. Appreciate everybody. Have a great weekend. I'm out.